we go. All right, I'm gonna open up my little Zoom room here.
Okay.
You're muted.
Thank you. Welcome. I waved and you waved, so I thought I was talking to you. But I forget everybody can just see the hands. But hello, everybody. Welcome in. We'll give folks a few moments to float in. We always get started at about 5 after. Welcome, Zuleika. Welcome, River. Welcome, Mary. We'll take a minute to get the things we need around us. If you need water, blanket, get cozy. Hi, River. We had, I don't know, like, it's always interesting to see how many come and how many ask me what time it is in the morning, because I had like 20, hey, what time was it today? So we'll see what time everybody shows up, but we got 3 or so minutes. Get cozy, get comfy, find your spot. I'm just gonna light my little candles. Perhaps if you have candles or incense, you might just open up your space. In the chat, we have all of our little information. If you'd like to introduce yourselves, feel free. You can say hi, your name, how you're arriving, or you can just be here as we prepare. And there's also the link to the Google Doc for all of our resources for today, including the like Bhumisparsha community guidelines and things like that, if you need those. So those are all in the Google folder, but I'll also share everything we'll chant or read or participate in today in the chat. Welcome, Taj. Good morning. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Nice to hear you today. Oh, and today we have a special guest behind the camera. Is my roommate Dende. So I can't speak to there being no ghosts in the room, but if you hear breathing and moving that is not mine, there is at least one other human in this room, so don't be scared. They're back there stretching. We'll wait about 1 more minute or so. Welcome, welcome, Joy Marie. This is the Mother Harriet Liberation Practice, sit number 2. As always, everything I offer today will be opt-in, opt-out. If you want to do your own thing, if you gotta move, take a break, leave, come back, all of these options are available to you, and I hope you feel kind of safe in your agency today to really just listen to what you need and follow that. We'll be using the same kind of structure as last time. We'll take a few minutes to slow down, get into our body and breath, and then we will practice Okinaga, our little breath expansion practice. We'll do the kind of same length, but we'll add one more longer on the end today to see if anybody wants to try a real big 25-second inhale and exhale. Or 20-second? Yeah, because we went up to 15 last time. And then we'll do our main kind of mantra practice, communal prayers, and we'll end with a spiritual, our second spiritual, the goodbye song today. Oh, thank you for introducing yourself in the chat. Hi, Mary, I see you. Hi, Zuleika. Just before we start, I am following in, well, I see the what have I gotten up to. Great segue. Thank you for the segue. Following in kind of Lama Rod's format and just allowing people to float in. I'll start just by talking a little, and you can take this as an invitation to just ground into your spot. Maybe take a few moments to really feel, okay, does this feel like a sustainable position? Maybe I want to be in motion. Maybe I want to rearrange or just settle in. That offering is here for you. And in thinking of our sit today, I was really reflecting this week on like being a conductor, learning to be a conductor of the Underground Railroad, which was Harriet's journey, or just learning to be, a conductor of our own lives right now, what that means in the abolitionist context. And this week for me personally has been really just like swampy with grief. No sleep, really feeling frazzled in my not my immune system so much, thankfully, but my nervous system, and a little bit strained, not quite in my body as much as I would like to be. But there have also been some moments of really kind of deep diving in and exploring the kind of things that were, scratching at the back of my mind, but I couldn't quite see clear enough to understand them. And I had a few deep stillness moments this week that felt revitalizing and grounding. And one of them I was really thinking of like, okay, this word, conductor, I've been really stuck on it as thinking of like the conduction of energy, of how we, set fire to our own spirits and let that fire blaze a path before us, how we are able to generate the warmth that kind of sustains us in the deep, cold waves of grief, right? The kind of icy shores of feeling the pain of the world, which is, I think, one invitation that the world is giving us right now to really deal with our pain head on. What's in front of us? Let's look at it, right? And so, in thinking of energy conduction and that kind of magic that comes with liberation, all those like pockets of wisdom that we find in our own bodies that don't even, regardless of like where they bubble up, we don't even connect them to like, oh, this is my wisdom, this is my whatever. It goes beyond us. Like sometimes, in a deep, deep stretch, all of a sudden you take a deep breath and you're just like, and you feel that little extra space. There's not really words to it or anything, but you're just like, oh, I remember being this big. I remember stretching out this much. I remember that I've taken up space like this before. That's the kind of conduction today I'm trying to work with, I think. I'm trying to bring that word out of an abstract for me and figure out what's the concrete feeling of am working out the literal knots in my body, right? Bringing heat into my bones. What are these concrete groundings that I can return to, make rituals of, make practices out of, and remember are my ways of being in touch with things around me. Like, how can I cultivate that in a way that doesn't feel so overwhelming, which is something I've been working with, or struggling with and working with, right? I think there's a really silly cliche that's in my head, or a saying. I don't know if it's a cliche or a saying. Maybe it's both. But it's just like, dress for the job you want. Let's not think of the real context of that. Boo, capitalism. Not that. But the logic of that, let's apply it to something else. And I was thinking this morning, actually, of like, dream and live for the world that I want, right? How can I live and build skills for the world that I dream of, right? Because I think that's a more suitable and like appropriate for my brain way of thinking of how to conduct, like, even just like conduct, right? Action, that's a big word. Karma, like that's a big, meditation Buddhist word, right? And in thinking of, okay, if I'm in this space and in this land that is not currently besieged, I have not only the luxury of dreaming, but I think the responsibility of dreaming in the space that is here for me, of a world that could work better for us, right? Of a world liberated. And so, as we move into practice today, our offerings, my offering, is that we really try and open ourselves up to not only the pain and the hardships around us, not only the struggle and the battle that is in front of us, but we open ourselves up to the dreams of truly embodying liberation, of remembering that we're already free, of knowing what that feels like in my body, and being able to let that be the guide. So kind of, for me, it's been stopping this train of having a picture that I'm trying to make my life fit into, and to instead delve into these spaces where I feel deep self-trust, where I feel even the aspiration to really trust my experience and what I see and feel in my bones. To really let that trust lead the pictures I dream up of the future, instead of trying to kind of retroactively get there. I'm trying to start from trust these days and see where that takes me. And it's been hard to cultivate, trust in a time where everything is so untrustworthy, uncertain, right? We live in a society where the media, like, I don't need to preach to the choir, but it's hard. And we've been trained not to trust what we know and feel about ourselves, our bodies, what we deserve, the care we need, and our own liberation, right? Our own stories. And so, as we become conductors of our own little spiritual train that's continuing that Underground Railroad into today's context, today's spirit, this body, this arising moment, hopefully we can settle in to a little trust and let that guide our way. So hopefully you've had a chance to come into your spot. I'll paste again in the chat the doc, but also as we go along, any mantras, songs, the lyrics, or words will be posted in the chat as well. And also can be followed along by voice. We'll start today just by taking a few deep breaths. Really just breathe in and out. Take a few breaths at your own pace. The invitation here is to notice where you feel your breath today. Perhaps trickling in the back of the nostrils or neck. Perhaps you feel the breath in the lungs, chest, expanding the rib cage. Perhaps as you breathe, your breath reaches down into your belly, allowing for a little expansion and release. Not pushing ourselves anywhere yet, just noticing, where does my breath arise? What does that teach me about what I need or how I'm feeling right now? Perhaps we notice where our body connects with the surface beneath us. If our low back, hips, thighs, if there's any sort of clenching, perhaps we take a second to offer our breath into that space in our bodies and find a little release. Finding a softness in the spine and ease in the jaw. Using the aids we have around us, our hands, tools, to help us relax. Motion. We might come into just a gentle awareness of the body. We might allow the breath to be a vehicle for our awareness to expand if that feels safe. Feeling the breath inside the body and then out. Letting our awareness expand to not only us, but the space around us. Perhaps as we breathe in and out, we take a moment to let our gaze relax. Perhaps engaging the peripheral space, but to really breathe in this boundless space around us. And breathe out, merging with it. Knowing we're not separate from all of this space around us, this energy, this conduction, this heat, this breath. And we'll start with taking a few gentle bell breaths. Please feel free to stay still, be in motion. If you'd like to follow along, we'll breathe in with the higher bell. That sounds like this. And we'll be breathing out with the low bell. That sounds like this. A few times over before we move into Okinaga, just to open up the airways. I'll give a little explanation after we open up with these few bell breaths for the next exercise. But you might take a clearing deep breath in. Let it all out. Inhale. Exhale. your breathing return to normal. Take a moment to gently stretch the body or settle into your stillness, whichever feels good today. Even just right now, knowing that that can change in the next few moments. We'll move into Okinaga with the drum. Okinaga means long breath. In Japanese, it's an exercise passed down Zen lineages, Rinzai Zen, some Aikido lineages, and I'm sure others, that is meant to really kind of shatter our impossibility, to expand our ideas of even expansion itself. And in thinking of Mother Harriet and these practices, like we talked about last week, you know, even our mantra later, this idea of going beyond, of knowing that liberation will be more than I could ever dream of. And still I should keep dreaming, right? Feeling that kind of invitation. This is a way to practice that in the body. Another way of, you know, how do I build those tools for the world I'm dreaming up, right? That we're dreaming up. Never just I as in me, but I as in my whole community and all of my communities. How do I get little glimpses of experiencing that? And so this is a way for me to practice in my body, and I hope it is for you as well. Last week we just started with the kind of shortest round, not short by any sort of judgment means, but just a relative means, of 5, 10, 15-second inhales, doing a few of each as we slowly glide into the longer length with the beat of the drum, letting us know to switch inhale and exhale. I'll give just a couple extra tips. Today we'll add a 20-second along at the end. If that feels nice to try, please try. If you just want to breathe along with yourself, please do that as well. Sometimes our body is the literal limitation for our breath, right? We can only expand our lungs as much as our body allows us to. The tension in our chest, in our shoulders, and our low back, this all contributes to how deep of a breath we can access. And so the way we sit can help us with that, right? Some people take their deepest breath standing. Some people, if you're sitting in half lotus or full lotus, I might, if your knees allow it, I might suggest switching to kind of seiza or on your knees posture. Or if you're in a chair, maybe just putting a pillow beneath your butt so that your knees are lower than your hips. Really just letting this clamshell shape open up. Some people breathe deeply when they're laying on their back. That comes with its own limitations as far as gravity goes, but if that is where you access your breath, that's where you access your breath. So, you know, trust your body's wisdom. For me, sitting on my knees feels the most accessible to me. And we'll breathe in and out slowly. When you hear a trailing off of the drum, that'll be our last breath. And then we'll take that energy, that space we cultivate, and move into our mantra practice and kind of take that inner spacious breath into the outward projection of that mantra, that vocal power. So we might take a deep clearing breath in, let it all out, breathing in through the mouth, out through the nose, inhale, trickling in through the back of the nostrils, exhale through the mouth, gently gliding off the back of the throat. Inhale. Exhale. 10 seconds in. Out slow. In, resisting that urge to gasp, trusting the breath will come. Fifteen in. All that stale air out. 20 in. Take a reset breath if you need to, whenever. Out slow, draining from the shoulders, even down. Let your breathing return to normal. Make any shifts that you need. And just notice how you feel right now. Perhaps if there's any places that are asking for a little touch, we offer a little holding to ourselves. We'll stay at this length for a good long while. And of course, this length is the length I'm presenting, but if you're doing it at home, 4 seconds, 5 seconds, 6 seconds, right? That can be your 1, 2, 3 as well. The length doesn't matter. It's the expansion and that experience that we're just trying to explore together. So whatever the appropriate vehicle is for you is the appropriate vehicle. And we'll move into our mantra practice today. It is on the Google Doc, or I will paste it in the chat. We use the mantra from the Heart Sutra, which is Gate Gate Paragate Parasamgate Bodhisvaha. A translation of that being, one translation of that being gone, gone beyond, gone completely beyond, awakening, so be it. And Zuleika shared with me the other day a beautiful page of Octavia Butler's diary, and it ends with "so be it" as a part of this like dreaming practice, and I was really moved by that. That kind of like radical dreaming work, I think, is what I'm trying to explore with these sessions in invoking Mother Harriet and really understanding that fierce compassion and that deep knowing of my own freedom. And so, as we move through these practices, these mantras, we will recite the mantra for one section together a few times, kind of a melody, you can follow along, and then we'll say those central prayers, that second copy and paste right there, that will be our collective prayer for now. We can continue to shape and grow these as we move together. And then we will go through the mantra one more round before singing our spiritual, which will be the goodbye song today, which is also in the doc, and I'll also copy and paste it in the bottom. But again, return to your space. Feel free to come into your body. We'll use the bells and the drum, our tools of just external conduction to remind us of the internal conduction going on at all times. I'm a little cold, so I'm going to get warm. Okay. Using the mantra Gate Gate Paragate Parasamgate Bodhisvaha, we will open up our Mother Harriet practice really with just a nice deep breath in and out as always. Just taking a second to feel into our own bodies and space, inviting our ancestors, inviting all those liberation seekers, inviting Mother Harriet. We might imagine her in her chair, maybe sitting in the room with us, maybe floating above our heads, rocking back and forth, singing along, chanting along. And perhaps in hearing our own voices today, we can listen for hers. We can listen for that voice that teaches us how to get free. Gate, gate, paragati, parasamgati, gati paragati parasamgati bodhi swaha gati gati paragati parasamgati bodhi swaha gati gati paragati parasamgati bodhi swaha gati gati paragati parasamgati bodhi Take a deep breath in and out, feeling that vibration in your voice, remembering those waves are going beyond us, transforming what's in front of us, and then moving through that farther than we could even imagine, right? We're casting out. Goodbye, river. Thank you for coming. We're casting out these breaths, this voice, as we move into our central prayers, which are in the chat. If you'd like to join me in Gasho with palms together, Anjali Mudra, hands on the chest, whatever feels like holding to you, we can recite together. May all beings be free. May those suffering experience liberation. May we hold each other through revolution. May we abolish everything that is not love. May we rebirth a free world. And moving back into the mantra, nice and slow, steady. We take those prayers, we take the knowing that there are communities of people just like us all around the world, deeply hoping, praying, and practicing intentionally for our collective liberation. And I am honored to join in that practice with you all. And hopefully we can continue to generate what we need to sustain us in that daily practice. Into the mantra again, gate gate, paragate, parasamgate, bodhisva. Paragati paragati parasamgati bodhisva. Gati gati paragati parasamgati bodhisva. Gati gati paragati parasamgati bodhisva. And lastly, Gati gati paragati parasamgati bodhisva. Perhaps we take a moment to honor whatever is arising within us, whatever our bodies are asking of us, this space is inviting us into. And we'll move into our final practice together. A singing of a spiritual of the goodbye song. I'll post this in the chat momentarily. This is an invitation of deep communal grieving, just like before when we sang We Shall Not Be Moved Together last week. We'll kind of move back and forth through these two spirituals for a while as it feels appropriate. This is a spiritual by a modern one, not an old one like the last time. Kind of inviting today's abolitionist spirit into our bodies. We'll sing it together twice. There we go. The lyrics are in the chat now, but this is an invitation to really notice, call in, and grieve those who have gone, those who have not been able to say goodbye to, and those who we honor in their untimely leaving. Those whose freedom we fight for in the parts of ourselves that we are trying to rebirth constantly, and the parts of ourselves that we have to let go of in order to move into who we are becoming. We can say goodbye to all of that and open up kind of goodbye as a portal into what we're saying hello to, what we are remembering deep underneath, what we are coming home to. And so, moving into the spiritual together. We'll sing it twice through. The melody you can pick up on, you can wait till the second, you can hum, listen, whatever feels good, move. This is called the Goodbye Song. When that Pharaoh chariot comes, I'm going to leave you. I'm bound for the promised land. I'm going to leave you. I'm sorry, I'm going to leave you. Farewell, oh farewell. Meet you in the morning. Farewell, oh farewell. I'll Meet you in the morning, bound for the promised land. On the other side of Jordan, I'm bound for the promised land. I'm sorry I'm gonna leave you, farewell, oh farewell. But I'll meet you in the morning, farewell, oh farewell. I'll meet you in the morning, farewell, oh farewell. Taking a few breaths in, we invite that spirit of knowing, even though some people will be left behind, even though we cannot save everyone, even though no one is coming to save us, we will meet the world we're dreaming of on the other side of liberation, on the other side of freedom. And all of us are free. None of us will be free until all of us are free. Going through one more time, seeing your farewell in the chat. When that Pharaoh chariot comes, I'm gonna leave you. I'm bound for the promised land. I'm gonna leave you. I'm sorry I'm gonna leave you. Farewell, oh farewell. But I'll meet you in the morning. Farewell, oh farewell. I'll meet you in the morning. I'm bound for the promised land. On the other side of Jordan, I'm bound for the promised land. I'm sorry I'm gonna leave you, farewell, oh farewell, but I'll meet you in the morning, farewell, oh farewell, I'll meet you in the morning, farewell, oh farewell. May we dedicate this practice, this breath, this voice, this collective seeking for liberation towards all beings. May all beings be free. May our practice bear fruit. May we taste that fruit in our own liberation. Thank you all for sitting with me today, for breathing. We might take a moment to come back to our space. For those of us left here, those of us who made it to the very end, sending out thanks to those of us who joined for even a portion. And before we go, as always, there's the space for anyone. Let me stop the recording. Thanks to everybody watching this later online. Goodbye to you.